Oh, okay, so we are live. Hi, everyone. I need to tweet to have everyone. Well, I'll do it later. So, welcome to the SIP meeting April 2019. This time we are discussing the fourth batch, which is linked below in the description. We are going to discuss actually 6 features, starting with Sebastian, that is going to summarize the comments in the contributors thread, and then hopefully we are going to get to vote on some of them. So, Sebastian, take the floor.
Okay, so the first.
He's there, I promise.
Yeah, I'm somewhere off screen. Hey, this is my hand. So Opaque type aliases. So there were 3 main kinds of comments. One was, hey, Valhalla is coming anyway and is going to include those value classes that are going to be awesome, and it's going to completely obviate the need for Opaque type aliases. It's a valid thing. It's been discussed quite a lot already before among the subcommittee, and there are some concerns about this, but in the end, it seems that in general the consensus, I mean not consensus, but the majority in the committee thinks that it's still worthwhile. At least for various reasons. One is it provides a completely deterministic thing that it's always the same as the underlying type, always. Second is, well, we can do it now and not wait for possibility of Valhalla doing it in the future. And there was a third one, I forgot. That's the concerns. So that's one thing. There was a lot of several comments on the syntax, especially on how to reduce the boilerplate of defining many extension methods for an opaque type alias. And here the consensus seems to be that it's definitely a concern, but it's also non-blocking in terms of adopting opaque type aliases as they stand and improving. I mean, having something that reduces the boilerplate could come up as a follow-up proposal in the future when we have a better idea of what we want to do, including maybe reducing the boilerplate for extension methods in general and not just for opaque type aliases. And then there were some concerns about type tags, which were kind of we're not yet sure, but we will evaluate exactly what kind of type tag needs to be in, if at all. But that's mostly independent of whether the feature itself is accepted or not. And then there were some concerns on the possibility of accidentally introducing unwanted recursion, because in the companion object of an opaque type alias, if you introduce members for the opaque type alias that also exists on the underlying type, then you need to be very careful which method gets called at what point, and possibly you need some explicit descriptions to make sure that the right ones are invoked. And here the general opinion is yes, it's a possibility, and it's something that people who write opaque type aliases with operations that have the same name as the underlying type should take care of, basically. And there was one final thing, some implementation concerns that maybe we want to restrict some of the power of viewing the equivalence in the companion only if we refer to other members of the companion through a path which is this, as opposed to the name of the companion. So let's say the opaque type alias is foo, and its companion is, of course, foo as well. Then inside foo, if you do this.bar, you see the equivalence, but if you do foo.bar, it's difficult, at least in Scala, to implement the fact that you see the equivalence. And so we kind of decided to leave, or there is some general, basically we will probably delay that specific spec point to how we manage to implement it, basically. So that's it for the opaque. Did you get anything?
Miles, happy birthday to your dog.
Thank you.
So if there aren't anything else, I think we were ready to vote on this one with the provision for this implementation defined subtle points there.
Mm-hmm.
So let the voting begin.
Yeah. So Martin.
Okay, I'm in favor.
Martin's in favor.
Guillaume against.
Guillaume is against. Seth is in favor.
Yes, Miles said yes. Julian.
I'm in favor.
And Seb.
I am in favor.
Okay,
of course.
And we will collect other votes. Email. We are going to add them to the minutes.
Yeah. So who else do we have? Adrian, Josh.
Adrian, Josh, and Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Martin, would you like to go next? Or you prefer somewhere else?
Extension methods?
Yes.
Yeah, so the discussion on extension methods was generally positive. There were people who asked about overloading and overriding, which indeed were both underspecified and under-implemented. So that got fixed as well in interaction with implicits got fixed. So there are persistent hesitations about the syntax. So essentially, syntax has a lot of different opinions. Generally, people on this thread were in favor, but there's still some voices that want to sort of explore other ways to do it. So that's the general that's the gist of what I could get from the discussion. We discussed before that we should maybe give people a chance to fully work out a different syntax proposal. In particular, there was the objection that the current syntax repeats the first parameter list and also the type parameters of all extension methods in an object or in a scope, and that gives you some repetition, and it would be maybe nice to be able to avoid it. I say maybe, I'm not completely convinced personally, but yeah, I mean, that's something that we could explore. So I believe the idea right now is to delay this for another cycle or so to give other people the chance to actually work out completely a different syntax and including essentially all the docs, how that would look, so that we can compare the two and essentially reach a decision afterwards. So I would say the summary so far is, yes, we want extension methods. We are not completely sure about the syntax yet. I obviously like the one that's over there, but not everybody agrees. and we give it essentially another chance to work out a competing proposal. So for today, we won't vote on that one.
Thank you, Guillaume.
Yes.
Can I?
Yes.
Sorry. Could I go first, because I'll soon need to transition to my mobile phone, and perhaps it's better if I speak while I'm still on the computer.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Thank you. So the proposal was adding top-level definitions. This generated a fair amount of feedback. I would say there was generally positive. There were questions and concerns regarding. Let's start with auto imports, because people wanted to have a way to designate some definitions as being automatically imported when the package, or well, what used to be a package object is imported itself. And Dotty has already the support for export definitions, which covered this concern raised by I think Oron Port. The second one was related to side effects and the fact that having top-level vals allows side effects on the right-hand side. So there are two ways out. One is to forbid them and only allow lazy values. And the other one is to say, well, if we allow them there, let's allow top-level statements, which are only run for side effects as well. So both generated fair enough of discussion, and the first one, forbidding normal values and going only for lazy vals, seemed too restrictive for let's say for the motivation of this change, which is allowing simple programs to be simply expressed in Scala. And for top-level statements, there's a whole new thread which I think warrants a separate discussion in itself. It was started by Howie Lee on the overall picture of getting started with Scala. And how can people transition from programs that are just a couple of lines of code, usually written as a script or as an Ammonite script, to a few hundreds, and then finally to a fully fledged Scala project that has maybe several modules and a build tool. And here, let's say one of the proposals that seemed to gather the most votes was to have two Scala types of source files, the normal .scala, which is what we currently have, and .sc files that allow top-level statements that can be gathered automatically into a main method, or just executed by the scripting engine at the top level, I guess, with some encoding that's not specified just yet. So this whole thing, our agreement was it should be discussed separately, and it's very important, but to limit our decision on the current proposal, which means adding top-level definitions without statements, so just vals, type definitions, and defs. If I think I didn't forget anything, and to proceed with the voting for this. I hope I didn't miss anything. Is there anything that you guys want to add?
No.
We should probably mention also the thing with the side effects on the right hand side of vals. That's in the end, because you exposed the issues but not the resolution.
Right. Yes. So you're absolutely right. So our take was that they're not more surprising than a regular object where you do have strict value definitions and who are initialized whenever a member of that top-level object is accessed. So the value itself or one of its sort of siblings or definitions at the same level. So in a sense, the current proposal stands in its current form. We did not remove nor add anything, and that's what we should vote on. Right? I think that's what.
Everybody said yes.
Okay, cool. All right, shall we do a round of votes? Or
Yes, Sebastian, okay. What say you?
Yes.
Martin?
I say yes.
Yes.
Hi. That's also good. Seth says yes. Miles? Miles says
Yes.
yes. Okay, and Julian says
Yes as well.
okay.
Okay.
This is lovely.
Seth,
Seth
Said
yes.
said yes with the
yeah.
thumb up. Yeah. Okay, great.
Cool.
So Julian, you can go and transition if you want to your phone.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. And then, I mean, for me, it's normal that Guillaume goes, but maybe somebody else wants to and has another reason. I guess not.
Hello.
Okay.
So the next proposal to discuss is the syntax for type lambdas. So to recap, this isn't really about adding any new semantics in the language, since you could already have type lambdas in Scala 2 using a weird projection encoding. It's just about having a nice syntax for them. And that part is like completely uncontroversial, as in like nobody reacted to that. The slightly more controversial part is about currying type lambdas. So the syntax in .t allows you to write type foo equals bracket x to bracket y to pair of x, y, for example. So that's a curry type lambda, which is equivalent in power to doing like type foo equals bracket x comma y a row, a pair of x, y. But can be nicer in some circumstances. For example, Lionel posted an example in the discussion thread. The issue with that is when you need to unify a curried type lambda with an uncurried type parameters or vice versa, which is not handled by .t and is not clear yet if it should be handled or if we should just not allow curried type lambdas to avoid this problem, which was my proposal. But it seems that people do want type lambdas, and there's curry type lambdas, and there's some interest in exploring like how to do inference to infer things the nice way with them. So I think we're going to defer voting on that until we have some clarity on the currying part. And yeah, otherwise I could talk. No, I guess I shouldn't talk about the separate but related proposal about using underscores for applied type lambdas.
Not really. It's going to be in the next batch.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So
can
it's
mention it, but not really.
Did we say defer vote on this, or did we say that vote on it, but with the proviso that there's still work to be done on inference?
I don't remember what we decided.
we decided to not vote on it, I think. But
I'm not sure. I thought we would vote on it.
I thought we would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, even me.
okay. So
This is something to look into, but not really
Yeah,
related
yeah.
to the vote with the one.
Because I think the feedback we got from Miles is he needs it absolutely.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if it could be inferred, but even if it can't be inferred, he still needs it. So, so I think that was the feedback. Yeah.
okay. So to repeat for everyone, this is all Miles' fault. Okay, so let's vote.
Yeah,
Okay,
go.
So I'm yay.
Yay.
I'm in favor as well.
There is another yay.
I am in favor.
Okay. Seth is in favor. Miles is very happy. And
Ecstatic.
yeah, and then Julian.
I'm in favor as well.
Okay. Unanimous for on this side, but we will get again the email votes. Perfect. Now it's up to you guys. Miles, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can hopefully be a bit quicker with this one. So there wasn't. So this is the proposal to add kind polymorphism to the language. There wasn't a huge amount of discussion. What there was fell into two categories. One was sort of some fairly sort of practical comments about, well, you know, the SIP proposal could do with an awful lot more examples of what exactly we have in mind for using this feature for. And the second category was some more theoretically motivated questions about whether or not it's sound. As it currently stands, the form of kind polymorphism that's being proposed in the SIP is really very, very limited. It only allows for the possibility of specifying that a type parameter can be satisfied with a type argument of any kind. So you could have a single type parameter which can be filled with all of int or list or map, despite the fact that the first has none, the second has one, and the third has 2 type parameters. That's the only thing that's being added here. I originally did some experiments with this to find out exactly how far in a whole bunch of cases one would be able to go with just this kind of very limited facility, and then using sort of type level computation to do things equivalent to abstracting over method signatures. I kind of came to the conclusion that there wasn't a lot of benefit to be gained from that. There are some examples, though, particularly in things like type tags, class tags, and such like, where there is a fairly direct, albeit rather limited, kind of practical motivation for wanting this facility. So it's kind of fairly narrowly scoped. And I think in the end that we sort of came to the conclusion that pretty much all of the actual concrete motivating uses for this feature that we could come up with were very, very much tied up with the current state of the metaprogramming proposals that are currently on the table. So I think we've kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've decided to kind of defer a final decision on this until we've actually got a complete metaprogramming proposal on the table. I think we can leave it at that. I'll kind of gloss over. I refer interested people to look at the contributors thread for the theoretical objections. I think the general sense is that there's the stuff that ultimately needs to be addressed, but we have a fairly strong expectation that it will turn out that there is either no problem, or at least there is a problem which can be dealt with by relatively minor kind of tweaks to the language. So there's not a serious issue that can't be solved there.
So yeah, I just note that Sandro in the Git thread, in the contributors thread, who is like the person who understands hierarchy-handed stuff in Scala the most, probably from a theoretical point of view, is a bit like he says it raises problems with proving stuff, at least like proving type soundness probably makes things harder.
Yeah, probably. And
he says he cannot rule out impredicativity. So it's.
Well, I think you can actually. I don't think that. I think that's a non-problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Sandro usually knows this stuff, right? But just to say, like we are a bit on shaky ground, and it's true that until we have more examples that we really need this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think until we've got a full set of examples to actually test it against, I'm happy to defer this.
So I'm just looked at where we actually use it in the tests, and one example came up was this kind polymorphic semigroup, which I think you had a look at that. Is that a good use case, or do you think now that that's not really where we want to go?
A kind polymorphic semigroup? I don't remember that.
Okay, maybe.
Where was that?
It's in our tests.
I guess just grep for any kind in the test.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah.
I'll put it.
It's under tests.pos kind poly semigroup. Kind polymorphic.
Right.
So, I mean, anyway,
we are not voting on this part.
It's not, yeah.
Okay, we defer with it.
We're deferring this.
Yeah.
Don't start using it in production today. don't put it in your Spark notebooks.
Next one, or
yeah, it's Seth's turn.
Yeah. So the feature in question is the symbol literals, whether to continue to have a dedicated syntax for them in the language, which is a single quote. On there was good consensus in the thread on some on a lot of things. So the 2.13.0 RC1 release reflects that consensus. So it goes ahead with the deprecation. So that begins the process of discouraging use of this syntax. We ended up not adding a string interpolator, and there was no consensus on whether the symbol class itself should stay in standard library or not. So we have not deprecated that. The really a major new objection that came up in this thread is that Spark uses this syntax for column names. It's not the only syntax that Spark provides for column names, but it is a popular one. There's concern in particular about this change being a disruptive one for Spark users, and especially for users of notebook environments. Those environments currently lack any facility for using Scala fix to do a rewrite, or using the dash migration dash rewrite feature of the Scala 3 compiler like that. In order to have smooth migration on this, the notebooks will need a better story for that. So I think the conclusion is that the deprecation can still go forward, but that the removal should be delayed. I think that's fine. There's no hurry to do the actual removal. In the meantime, the feature can go behind a language flag that notebook authors can enable. So as long as the removal is the possible removal is delayed until after 3.0 into some possible 3x release, I think that this should not be a blocker for Spark to move to newer versions of Scala. So that's the summary.
Thank you.
So I guess in that case we would vote on, like, we assert the fact that we deprecated, that we definitely don't recommend it for any new code, but that the removal is going to happen at its own pace to follow the requirements of the ecosystem, and in particular Spark notebooks.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. I mean,
vote.
this.
Martin?
Yeah, in favor.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Julian.
Yeah, sorry. Can I vote on this one by email? Because I realize now while listening to the summary that I don't have a fully formed opinion. And if anyway we're going to wait for votes coming from Adrian and Josh, I would prefer to.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
All right, cool, thanks.
I'll sometime today I'll add a new post to the thread that summarizes, so that should help you review it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great if.
Okay.
Yeah. Seth, you said yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, we conclude the meeting. It was amazingly efficient and clear, and I hope we continue the work as for today.
It's so clear. We had no questions.
No questions. Yeah, that's. I wanted to just check. That's perfect. Yeah, it was too fast. They're like, you covered it all. Okay, so thank you everyone for your time and dedication and everything you did. Have a nice evening or morning.
So just that we're clear, we have an.
We didn't announce. Yeah.
Coming, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
But keep what I said. Keep for later.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are just going to announce the next batch, which is the 5th batch, and on the list, more or less, there are 5. Maybe we can add another one
If we
feel like it. So
Yeah.
would you like to go over which ones?
Well, we had enums, but that still requires some work.
Yeah.
Originally, we had implicit resolution, implied instances, implicit conversions, the given parameter syntax, implied imports. and enums. So that's 6.
Okay, if we
Yeah.
take enums, then that's perfect. Okay.
But I don't know, can we do enums? That I think requires some work from Seb.
To maybe do export instead, since that's
We can do
fully
export
formed, I
instead.
guess.
Yeah, we can do both.
Hmm?
We can do export. I think export is good, definitely.
I mean, it's basically already been discussed.
Okay.
I think we can do enums anyway, and as I write the summary, I will also add a section on the main things
Very good.
I think need to be adapted for Java Interop.
Yeah. Okay. That would be good. And then we can take exports as well. So I can. That would mean 7. Is that too much?
I mean, no, that
Okay.
would be perfect if the committee is up for
Okay.
it.
I volunteer to do export
Okay.
as well, unless somebody else beats me to it.
They're all like
Okay,
now
good.
competing. Okay,
So,
perfect. So it's 7 for the next.
So enums and export is not even there yet because it
Yeah.
developed afterwards. But it's sort of
Yeah.
a good complement to top level, which we just added.
Okay, perfect. So in this case, I'm going to ask you to commit on posting this by the end of this week.
Yep, we'll
Okay.
do that.
Perfect.
Okay.
So for the community, for the contributors community and everybody that is following, we concluded more or less the 4th batch. There is 1 or 2 that are going to be voted in the future. And the 5th batch is going to have 7 new features to discuss by the end of this week. So voila, that's it.
Okay, great.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks.
See you next
Okay.
month.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. See you next month. Thank you.